Welcome to today's video. I am so excited to show you the look that I created doing a makeup bingo with the 3 Hela palettes from Angelica Nyqvist and Odens. Hi, welcome to today's video. If this is your first time here, my name is Heather Eaglin. I love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and indie brands. If you love those things too, I hope you will subscribe and click the little bell to turn on your notifications so you can be notified of all my future uploads. And don't forget to like this video on your way out. As I already mentioned, I'm so excited to do this makeup bingo with the 3 Hela palettes that were in collaboration between Odens and Angelica Nyqvist. And I've been so excited to do this video ever since I saw that these palettes were being released. Now let's get into the number generating portion and let me show you the color story. Now I have each one of the Hela palettes, as I mentioned before, and I'm going to pick 3 shades from each palette. I wanted to make it a little interesting. It's going to be kind of hard to put 9 shades on my lid, but I like using a lot of palettes and a lot of eyeshadows for looks, so I don't think it's going to be that hard. For the Hela palette, the first number I got was number 7, which is this beautiful green shade. Sorry, I lost my train of thought entirely. It's so pretty. I'm going to swatch it out on my hand and show you the colors, and then we will go through and I'll show you better swatches at the end. The next is the Little Ghost palette, and for that I got number 11, which is this gorgeous blue shade. It's called Creepy. It's like a little duochrome-y. It's very beautiful. Then the Trick or Treat palette, I got shade number 12, which is this beautiful shade. I'm so excited for this. The only color that I really don't know what to do with is that blue, but I'm sure I'll be able to figure out something. And then back to the Hela palette, I got shade number 6, which is this beautiful moss shade. I just think this look is going to be so fun. I love the color story. I know I've already said that, but I'm just so excited about it. And then we have the Little Ghost, and here we got shade 5, which is this really pretty pastel purple, but it almost looks white. It's got a lot of white pigment in it. It's a very beautiful brightening shade. And then next on the Trick or Treat, I got shade 7, which 4, 5, 6 is this shade. I love this shade so much. I'm so excited. I think this is going to be the coolest look, but I guess we'll find out, won't we? And then the last shade in the Hela, I got shade 3, which is this really pretty swampy green. It's very light, but packs a punch. It's such a pretty like mustard shade, but it's leaning more green. If you haven't been on my channel very long, I am terrible at describing colors. And then back to the Little Ghost, the last shade is shade 14, which is Candy Corn. Such a pretty like orange peachy shade. Do you see what I mean with this color story though? And then the last one in the Trick or Treat palette is shade 13, which is one of my favorite shades in this palette. It is so freaking stunning. Look how deep and rich that is. That's just going to be so beautiful. And there's the color story, but as I said, well, those swatches are pretty good, but I'll give you an up close look at them. Here's an up close look of the swatches. So pretty. And now I'm going to try to figure out where I'm going to place all these shades and show you guys the look that I come up with. I'm so excited for this one though. It's going to be so fun. I'm going to start this look out using the Hela palette, and I'm going into the shade Underworld, which was that light swampy green shade. And for this, I'm using my E54 medium sweeper brush from Sigma. I really love this brush. It's one that I use in almost every single look. But I'm just basically packing that Underworld shade on in my inner corner with the flat side, and then I'll go in with my E38 diffuse crease brush to try to blend that out just a little bit. All three of these palettes are really good quality. They have beautiful pigmented shadows, so I recommend all three of them, but the Hela palette is no longer available unless you buy it from a third-party seller. Now I'm going into the Trick or Treat palette, and I'm using the shade Vampire Fangs. I really love this. Look how pigmented it is. It's such a beautiful shade, and it's so deep and rich, but it blends out so well. And I'm using another Sigma E54 medium sweeper brush to pack it on, and I'm just trying to get the base shadows placed, and then I'll work on blending them out. But as I was saying earlier, if I were to rank these palettes, for me, based on color story, because they're all the same wonderful quality, I would rank the Hela palette first, the Trick or Treat palette, and then the Little Ghost palette. But I do love all of them. Now I'm going back into the Hela palette, and I'm using the shade Moss, which is a perfect way to describe it. And I'm just deepening up the inner corner a little bit with that Moss shade. I think this color combination is beautiful. I really love it. I've done just these two colors before in a look, but I used the In the Limelight ColourPop palette in combination with the Wine and Only palette from ColourPop. I know that In the Limelight palette isn't available, but there still are other palettes with the similar color story. Now I'm just using the Sigma E38 diffuse crease brush, and I'm going back into that Vampire Fang shade, and I'm just trying to smoke that color up and out. You can see it blends so freaking well. I really love the Odens eye formula, especially when it comes to the palettes they've released the last couple of years. I recommend a lot of the products on their site. I really love the blushes as well. I haven't tried the highlighters yet, but let me know if you guys have tried them out, and if you have, do you like them? And again, I say this a lot lately because it's freaking allergy season. I'm so sorry that my voice is so raspy. It annoys me. I can't stand it.
I feel like I sound like this in all my videos, and maybe I do.
But I've had hay fever lately, and my voice is so, like, gravelly. It's literally driving me insane. So if you have any tips or home remedies or whatever, please fill me in, because I am struggling. I'm on so much allergy medicine, and nothing is doing anything to help it. Now I've just went into the shade Candy Corn from the Little Ghost palette, and for that I'm using a Singe Beauty EO3. It's like a big fluffy blending brush, and I think that that color on top of the Vampire Fangs was so freaking pretty. It gave it like the most seamless blend, and I really loved it. And now I'm going back into the Trick or Treat palette, and I'm using that Sigma E54 medium sweeper, and I'm just packing that Vampire Fang shade back on. Say that 10 times fast. But I'm just packing that on and then blending it out with the other side of the brush. And as you can see, these colors pack on very well. You can get a lot of depth with these shadows, and I really love that. That's my favorite type of formula to work with, because I love a lot of contrast in my looks. So I had so much more fun playing with these palettes this time than I did the first time I played with them. But I think that has a lot to do with me being sick. Now I'm going back into that same color. I've just changed my brush to the Singe Beauty EO2. This is a very small blending brush. It's one of my favorite blending brushes in my collection. I love it because it really allows you to be more precise with your eyeshadow, and I really like that because I have slightly hooded eyes, and it allows me to really deepen up my crease and get the perfect blend. I love these eyeshadow brushes, and they are always linked. They are sold out right now, but she is doing a restock, I think, next month, but that's a guess. Now I'm going back in with the Singe Beauty EO3 and the shade Candy Corn from the Little Ghost palette, and I'm just using that to blend out the edges. I think I go back and forth so much because I tend to overblend. That's something that I got to try to work on. And now I've switched to a Sigma E45 Max. It's another big fluffy blending brush, and I'm just using the Hela palette, that really light shade Underworld, and I'm just putting that at the very edge of this look. I really love the way it diffused the whole eyeshadow look. I'm adding a color, and this is the shade Soot in the Hela palette, and I really love this shade because with some colors you pair it with, it looks brown, but in other colors you pair it with, it's like a very deep, dark, burgundy purple shade. Soot is the perfect name for it, but it's very pigmented, and I love how much depth just a touch of it really brings to an eyeshadow look. Now I'm going back into the Little Ghost palette, and I'm using that pastel purple, which is called Skeleton. And for that, I'm using my ColourPop E23. It's a pencil brush. I really love this shade because with the colors I have on my eye right now, it doesn't look purple. It kind of transforms, and I think that's really cool. It did a great job brightening up my inner corner, and I'm glad I got this shade. Now I'm going back into the shade Vampire Fangs, and I'm using a Real Techniques shading brush, and I'm just sweeping that on my lower lash line, kind of just pressing it in and blending it out a little, just to try to add a little depth under there. I want to finish the lower lash line before I work on the shimmer shades, but I'm pretty sure at this point I've already used all of the mattes that got selected. And I also wanted to say, if you're looking for some affordable makeup brushes at Walmart or the drugstore, I really recommend the Real Techniques brush sets. And Eco Tools has some really good ones too. And Moda Brushes is another one. I have a few from them. But the Profusion brushes at Walmart are, I think, $1 a piece. One of my favorite brushes from them is a little tiny blending brush. It's the ES6. It's a small pointed eyeshadow brush, and it's a really good one too. I've had good luck with all of these brands, so I highly recommend you check them out if you're shopping for some eyeshadow brushes. Elf has some good ones too, though. And I'm still just deepening up this Vampire Fang shade, trying to get it where I want it. Now I'm going back into the Trick or Treat palette, and I'm using the pastel purple, the shade Skeleton, to blend that out. Those two pair really well together. I thought this was really pretty, and I was trying to get like a purple pink to try to be able to pull that blue shimmer shade that I got in. I did get a whole lot of shimmers in this bingo, but I mean, what do I expect? I did pick 9 shades, so I kind of knew that was gonna happen. And I'm using that ColourPop E28 pencil brush to try to blend that out. Now I'm going back in with that shading brush with the Vampire Fang shade, and I'm just deepening it up a little bit more. And I'm just going back and forth in between that and the pastel purple. I like my eyeshadow blended, like kind of blown out on the bottom, especially when I have a very dramatic look like this one. Now I'm going back into the Vampire Fang shade, and now I'm using a smaller brush to really try to get in there. This is a Dew Color brush, and it's the 09. I really like these brushes too. I got them on Amazon. There's like 20 brushes for $15, and it's a pretty good deal. I've had mine for over a year now, and I wash them almost every day, and they're still in really great shape, so I recommend those as well. Now I'm going in with my NYX glitter glue. I really love this stuff. I use it in every video. And I'm just putting that on with a BH Cosmetics pack brush. And I'm just putting that everywhere that I plan on putting shimmers. I did get a little bit of fallout with the shimmers in this palette, but I think it might be the brush that I was using. It was my Singe Beauty EO1 brush, and it picks up shades so freaking good. So I think that I might have picked up too much. And here I'm picking up the shade Crypt Keeper, which is that really deep green. Such a gorgeous shade. This is one that I did get some fallout with. So now I'm going in with my Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 setting spray. And I'm just spraying my brush after I pick it up to try to alleviate some of that fallout. I ended up having to redo some of my makeup under my eyes. If you're someone who really struggles with fallout or like totally hates it, I completely understand. I would just do my eyes before I did my face makeup when using these palettes. Now I'm going in with the shade Creepy, which is the blue shade from the Little Ghost palette. And I'm not going to lie, it looks a little weird for a minute because this shade totally does not go with this look. But I kind of cheated and I just put another shade over top of it. You can still see the blue a little bit, but not as much when I'm done. It ends up making sense. As you can see by my facial expressions, I totally wasn't feeling the blue. I got a little nervous for a minute, and I'm not going to lie. Now I'm going back into the Trick or Treat palette, and I'm using the shade Deadly. This is such a gorgeous shade, like I said earlier. It's like a burnt orange. It's so metallic and just so bright and beautiful. I just really think it's probably one of my favorite shades in the palette. I just loved it so much. Look how bright it looks on my eye, but in the pan it looks kind of like a dirty copper color, if that makes sense. Now I'm going back into the Hela palette, and I'm using that beautiful green shade called Venom, and I'm still using the Singe Beauty EO1. I just use my Sigma switch to clean it off. That is one of the greatest things ever invented. It keeps me from dirtying so many brushes, which is so great. And anyways, I'm just putting that green shade on my inner corner. I really loved how bright it made this look at the end. I was so happy with it. I just used my finger to place it because it seemed to be doing better to get it on. And now I'm just going on my lid to try to brighten up that green some. I just like the way it blends out when you use your finger, like up towards where you have the mats, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't. My bad. But now I'm going back into the shade Crypt Keeper, and I'm just trying to blend that in with that blue to try to make it make sense. You can't really see the blue when I'm done here. You can see it when you look at it up close. And now I'm going back in with the matte shade Soot from the Hela palette, and I'm using my Sigma E30 pencil brush, and I'm just packing that matte color back on and blending it into the shimmers because I kind of took that Crypt Keeper shade a little too far out. So I'm just trying to pack the mattes back on and get the depth back. I really don't like shimmers on my outer corner. I feel like it takes away the dimension, but somehow I always manage to put them there, and then I have to try to fix it at the end. It's kind of like my finish touch for everything. Now I'm using the Singe Beauty EO2, and I'm going in with the shade Vampire Fangs. And I'm just sweeping that color back through the crease to try to blend it all back out. Sometimes I tend to take the shimmers up too high, so I just try to like revamp it. And I apologize that I keep holding the mirror up in front of my face. I'm so used to doing my makeup with a mirror on my desk in front of me, and you wouldn't believe how hard it is to try to film yourself and not like block the frame with the mirror and stuff. It's so annoying, but you know, this whole thing is like a work in progress. I'm just learning as I go. Now I'm going back in with the Sigma E45 Max, and I'm using the candy corn shade from the Little Ghost palette, just to blend those edges out. Now, here is the finished look. I added a liner from ColourPop in the shade Electric Daisy. Here's an up-close look of the eyeshadow look. Isn't it awesome? I really think I killed it this time. And I'm so happy with the way it turned out. And I just want to thank you guys for listening to my raspy ass voice through this video. I appreciate you guys supporting my channel. I also wanted to show you what I used on my face. This is the Benefit Butterfly blush. It's one of my favorite blushes in my collection. But I just used it with this blush from Give Beauty. Yes, that's the name of it, Heather. And for highlighter, I used my Get Groovy highlighter from Unearthly Cosmetics. I love this. Orange is one of my favorite colors. And on my lips, I have the ABH Cool Brown Liner, topped with the liquid lipstick from Unearthly Cosmetics in the shade Gnarly. And I used the shade Gianna in the center. And I've been really into this Lawless lip mask, and I just put that on top. Also, these earrings are the cutest things I've ever seen. I got them from Five Below for like $3. And my lashes are these Kiss number 11 lashes. Let me know down below what you guys thought of the finished look. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you can be notified of all my future videos. And let me know your thoughts down below. Bye.